with a variety of issues, including, of course, hope. This morning's scripture is from the Gospel of John, and for those of us who know a little bit about John, we know that much of what he does, he wants to teach us about light and darkness. So when we read from his gospel, we're always either in the dark seeking the light, or we're in the light and there's shadows of darkness that come about. This morning's scripture is the story of Jesus and Nicodemus. And I would like to just say a little bit about how I see this scripture. I think it's an amazing scripture that teaches us about the contrast between faith and doubt. Someone who can be in darkness, who really desires the light, and another who is in the light, welcoming, beckoning another from the darkness. Nicodemus was a prominent member of his society in his city. He was most likely a lawyer. He had it all in his head. And he was very, very smart. He'd heard about Jesus somewhere, and he came to see Jesus by darkness of night. Who knows what Jesus was doing, but I think maybe he was sitting at his desk, perhaps reading a Lenten meditation.
Rabbi. Hello. Sorry
Hello.
to come to you so late.
Well,
May
won't
I
you
join
come
you?
in?
Thank you.
And I know about you. I know your name is Nicodemus, I think.
It
May
is.
I call you Nick?
Sure.
What's on your mind?
I needed to speak with you, and I haven't found a better time to do it than now. I know that you are of God. The things that you do couldn't be done without being of God, and I have that faith. But there is something else that I'm looking for, and I wish to be closer to the Spirit that I see is with you. And I don't know how to do it.
Nicodemus, it's good that you've come. You're absolutely right in coming here and wanting to have a discussion about this. Unless someone is born from above, unless someone is born from God and wants to know and see the Spirit of life, one can't make it into the kingdom of heaven. Now, I know that this will be hard for you to be born from above.
It sounds impossible. How can you be born again once you have been born once? I can't return to my mother's womb and be born again. I have been born once. The next step is death. I need a better answer than that. How is that possible?
Unless you open your life up to the power of the Spirit and understand that in every moment of your life, you can be opened again and again and again to be born anew, to be born fresh into the life and the power of the Spirit. Open your mind, expand your heart.
My mind
Listen to what
is
I'm
open,
saying.
Rabbi. My mind is all I have. And yet this doesn't make sense to me.
I'm talking about your heart. Listen to your heart. In your heart, you will see what the blessing and the power of the Spirit is. Unless you can be born again, you may not see the kingdom of heaven. And I'm not talking about, okay, I was blind, but now I see. What I'm talking about is opening your heart and seeing that the wind blows where it will. It goes this way and that, and like the wind, the Spirit is moving in your life.
I want that. I do. But I can't hold the wind. I can't use the wind. I can't. What do I do with that?
Move into the power of the Spirit. Can you feel it in the air? The air is crackling with it. Can you see it in the flame? Can you feel it between us? God is longing to be present to you, to bring light into your life, to fill and infuse your heart and your body, your mind, and your being with Spirit. Stop procrastinating. Come on. Come along.
Come along where? Where? This was supposed to be helpful. I'm only more confused and upset than I was before.
Nicodemus, you may not get this in your life. You may be confused, but I'm going to say it to you once. For God loved this world so much. God wanted to put us on a track towards wholeness, towards healing, towards light and life and being. God didn't come into the world to condemn us, to make us limited beings. God came so that we might love, we might know life, we might see light.
Well, thank you, Rabbi. Some signposts would have been nice on the trajectory of hope.
I'll pray for you. Friends, we ask a simple question this morning. It's so simple. It comes to us in an ancient language, and we, as progressive Christians, have the ability to unpack the ancient language. What does it mean for you today, in this moment, to hope for rebirth? What does it mean for you in this moment to hope for being born again? See if with each other, turn to the person next to you, we can unpack that phrase, born again, and move it into something new. What are you hoping for today? How will you be saved by hope? So, one or two people, have a good talk, and we'll see you in about 2 minutes. Thank you, everybody. And you can always continue those conversations beyond this place. So Alex and I just had a moment with each other, and we thought that we would just take a moment and tell you what it felt like for us to go into that. We have talked about this scripture and rehearsed it with each other, and really had a good time struggling with what those words mean to be born again. And so we just had kind of an experience, and we'd like to share what happened to us with you.
I'm sharing first? Okay. It's like a talk back. This is kind of cool. For one scene. Anyway, what I found like most interesting is how many words that I did not have when I got to do this. We did rehearse it, and we did like, you know, it's kind of improv-y, and I talked a lot more when we were not just doing, but to like be encountered with Jesus is an interesting thing. And it left me interestingly speechless, which I am not normally. Hello. And so, yeah, I mean, like, when reading the passage, it was interesting that Nicodemus essentially asked two questions. And, well, like one question. He says, "You're of God. I can see that." And then Jesus says, "Yes." And he says, "But how can I be born again?" And Jesus talks for like 3 paragraphs. But I don't know. I understood more, having done this experience, how it could be that you could be like, "Hi, you're cool. I have a lot of really big questions, and your answers are confusing. I already asked the question. I don't know what to say." Anyway, yeah.
So the experience that I had, which was really interesting for me, and I didn't have it when we talked about this scripture, the experience that I had is how sometimes it's difficult to be hope for somebody else, and how it can sometimes be heavy when you're carrying a hope that someone else might get it, or someone else might move into the light, or someone else might be buoyed by your faith and your strength, and the feeling of kind of wanting to pull him in and help him to lead a more full life. And how a lot of times we're doing that for each other, right? And it's sometimes hard work. And at one point in there, I felt like I was leaning on some sense of grace that I needed to be able to help hold him.